Hi, this is Middle Class Matt from don'tbuythehype.blogspot.com and NC Sports Genius 1. You can also follow me on Twitter at the same name, NC Sports Genius 1. Today I'm going to preview the rematch between Duke and North Carolina that will happen this Saturday at 7 o'clock. This should be a really good game and probably will go right down to the wire. Forgive the cliche, but it probably will be an instant classic. As a UNC fan, I hope that UNC wins by 20 points. But my guess is I doubt that will happen. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time talking about the matchups I did last time when I previewed the Duke-UNC game. A summary real quick of the factors that I think will play a big part in the outcome of the game. UNC has big men that play big. Duke, on the other hand, has big guys, 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, but they don't play big. So North Carolina has the advantage because their big men play big inside. Duke has no answer for Harrison Barnes. He's a physical specimen that they really can't match up with on the wing. On the other hand, Carolina really can't match up with Austin Rivers. Last time when I previewed the UNC-Duke game, I thought the quickness of Duke's guards would give North Carolina trouble, and it did. Curry had a good game, and Austin Rivers had a legendary game. Carolina always has trouble with the 6'3", 6'4" shooter. Dulkes for Florida State lit up North Carolina for a career high earlier this season and led to the worst loss in UNC's history under Roy Williams. Rivers is that sort of player, and UNC will have to really concentrate on him to be able to win this game. Rivers has really become Duke's go-to player. UNC really doesn't have a go-to player yet. Harrison Barnes seems to be the best candidate, but he really hasn't stepped up and really fulfilled that role. On the other hand, Rivers has jumped into that role both feet, and he is clearly Duke's go-to player. I'm not going to make a prediction of this game. Last time I made a prediction that UNC would win by 8 points, and they ended up losing in the end, even though most of the second half they had an 8 to 10 point lead. So logically, I had reasons for why UNC would beat Duke, and in the end, Duke stole one. So I'm not going to make a prediction, but I'm going to give a few factors that really could play into the game. One are the refs. Last time the refs played a big part in the game. There was some really suspicious calls, and that definitely could happen at Cameron. Duke's usually really tough to beat at Cameron, even though they've lost there twice this year. And they usually get the calls. I believe the refs can be Duke biased a lot of times. And then when you have a rowdy home crowd, that also will affect the referees many times. They are human. The three refs that I hope aren't at the game that I have suspicions of Duke bias are Mike Eads, Tim Nestor, and Carl Hess. But the main thing Carolina needs to do is convert on opportunities that they have. Last time, in the last 2.5 minutes of the Duke-Carolina game, they had opportunities that could have been easily converted. And if they would have converted those opportunities, they would have won. So North Carolina definitely needs to do that. Now, this game, everything is on the line for UNC. Now, Duke has a lot at stake too. But UNC is trying to avoid the sweep of their rival. They're playing at Cameron. They will win the ACC if they win this game. Tyler Zeller will most likely win ACC Player of the Year if he has a strong game and UNC wins. They will be the first seed in the ACC tournament, and they'll be one of the first seeds of the NCAA tournament, so a lot's on line. UNC was picked by many people to be the national champions this year, and that is what their goal is as a team. If they want to win a national championship, UNC needs to win this game Saturday. It's that important. This is going to be like a rivalry game and a tournament game rolled into one. And to be able to do that, there's a lot of factors for Carolina to win this game and to win the national championship that could come into play. In the past national championship games, UNC always had a big bruiser inside. They also were a pretty good team when it came to scoring points. And they really struggle with that. They don't score quite as many points as they used to. They used to have a 6-man that would come off the bench in their championship years. Marvin Williams in the first one, and Ed Davis in the second championship. It seemed like James Michael McAdoo would be the perfect fit for that role. He's cut from the same cloth, but he hasn't lived up to those expectations. Hopefully he'll have a big game against Duke, and he'll really need to play better if UNC expects to win a title. Something else I mentioned before is that UNC doesn't have a go-to player, so they'll need that. But with all the X's and O's and different basketball philosophies and intricacies we could talk about for why UNC can win the championship, the reason that what they'll need to do to win this Duke game and to win a national championship is very simple. They need to put the ball in the hoop. That's it. Jay Billis talked about how this team doesn't convert on their opportunities, and that if they would have converted just a few opportunities against Duke, they would have won that game, which is totally true. The last game where UNC played Maryland, they had 36 points, and the announcer said, you know what, they could have 50 at this time. In the past, UNC has had players like Tyler Hansbrough. Now, Hansbrough was probably not as athletic as John Henson, or as athletic as Tyler Zeller. He may not even have been as skilled as those two players, but his genius was he knew how to put the ball in the hoop. When Carolina needed a basket, and when the team was struggling, he put the team on his shoulders and took over. UNC really doesn't have a player or a mindset like that. Duke, on the other hand, has a desire to win the game. A lot of that comes from Rivers. So UNC really is going to have to step up and do that to win. They're going to have to make those easy buckets that they put themselves in a situation to get. A lot of the UNC players are so talented and have great moves and footwork, and they put themselves in the position because of that to get easy looks, and then they don't make them. Maybe it's a lack of focus, maybe it's a lack of killer instincts, I don't know. But they'll have to do that to win this game against Duke and to win a national championship. One added note is I have some footage up of Isaiah Hicks. He is UNC's #1 verbal recruit, so be sure to check that out. And if you're a Duke fan, be sure to check out the footage I have of a lot of the Duke players from this last summer's Pro-Am. This is Middle Class Matt from don'tbuythehype.blogspot.com and NC Sports Genius 1. I'll see you next time. Go Heels.